from the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, September 2nd, 2021. Welcome to the Practitioner Brief. We have got a busy show for all of you today. 6 stories to wrap up this week before we head into the long Labor Day Rosh Hashanah weekend. Yeah, it's right around the corner. Good morning to Christoph. It is coffee time, buddy. That is absolutely true and correct. What are you drinking this morning? Let us know in the comments. This show is live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you have not subscribed to the CyberHub podcast, please make sure to do so right now. Also, if you have not subscribed to the CISO Talk podcast, go back 126 episodes of pure awesomeness on the CISO Talk podcast. New episodes every single week, so go and check that out as well. A pure, practical conversation about leadership and security between 2 CISOs. So you definitely want to check it out, especially the last 3 episodes are ones you don't want to miss. We talk about Zero Trust, we talk about cloud, and we talk about so much more. Good morning, David. It is coffee time. What are you folks ready to drink this morning? Shout out to Know Before and Ativo Networks for their support of our program. Without them, this show would not be possible. All of our show notes, all of the stories, all of the links is all in the show notes. So go and check those out as well. And now without further ado, it's coffee cup cheers time, folks. My lovely double espresso still actually smoking. So still very, very, very warm. So join me in a cheers of coffee. Michael is having coffee Colt Road Dog, which is a local coffee. Good for you, good sir. This is another of my illy extra bold roast. It's actually my last one, so over the weekend I got to go get some more. Cheers. Love a good espresso in the morning. Man, it just hits it. So let's get right into Keith is having Pete's Major Dickinson blend. I like Pete's. I've actually got Pete's espresso capsules. I may have to break those out next week, Keith. And we can coffee cup cheers to Pete's coffee. All right, here we go. Let's get right into what's happening today. So first story we've got is Cisco patches a critical enterprise NFVIS vulnerability to which a POC exploit is available. The announcement that came yesterday about the availability of patches for a critical authentication bypass vulnerability in the enterprise NFV infrastructure software, for which a proof of concept exploit code already does exist. It's tracked as CVE 2021-34746, a CVSS score of 9.8. The newly patched vulnerabilities was identified by Orange Group security researcher Krill Chadras, whose proof of concept exploit code for this flaw is now available. The issue resides in the TACAX plus authentication, authorization, and accounting feature of enterprise NFVIS, and exists because user supplied input is not completely validated when passed to an authentication script. Because of the bug, an unauthenticated remote attacker could inject parameters into the authentication request and exploit the vulnerability to bypass authentication and log into an infected device as an admin. The patch is already available. Enterprise NFVIS released 4.6.1 and does contain the patch, or anything after 4.6.1 has the patch for Cisco. Folks, it's a very, very long weekend for a lot of people. As of tomorrow, people are gone. They're also off on Monday in the US for Labor Day. Tuesday, if you're Jewish and you celebrate Rosh Hashanah like myself. It's a very, very long weekend. CISA issued an advisory with the FBI saying threat actors tend to target these weekends. That's a critical thing for them. So make sure you've got your T's crossed and your I's dotted and get this patched immediately. All right. We'll move on to another one where an FTC bans Stalkerware app SpyFone and orders company to erase secretly stolen data. So the U.S. Federal Trade Commission on Wednesday banned a Stalkerware app called SpyFone from the surveillance business over concerns that it stealthy harvested and shared data on people's physical movements, phone use, and online activities that were then used by stalkers and domestic abusers to monitor potential targets. SpyFone is a brazen branding for the surveillance business that helped stalkers steal private information, according to Samuel Levin, the acting director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. The stalkerware was hidden from device owners, but was fully exposed to threat actors and exploited the company's slipshod security. This case is an important reminder that surveillance-based businesses pose a significant threat to our safety and security. SpyFone's website advertises the company as the world's leading SpyFone app and claims 5 million installs. Like other stalkerware services, SpyFone allowed purchasers to surreptitiously track photos, text messages, emails, internet browsing histories, real-time GPS locations, and other PII stored on the devices. That development comes 2 years after the FTC barred Retina X and its developers from selling stalkerware apps that were illegitimately used to spy on employees and children all as well. So there we have it. The FTC finally taking some action over this one. And I thought that was very interesting. That's why I wanted to share it, by the way. Anytime the FTC takes these apps, what it does is it creates some sort of legal precedent. The legal precedent could be used to say, does monitoring one's activity on a corporate network also apply the same? And that is a question for the courts to answer. But the FTC is setting some dangerous precedents, good ones, but also ones that, under the wrong legal argument could be misinterpreted. The Confluence vulnerability is now being exploited in the wild. So if you're a Confluence enterprise collaborator or user, then you just want to know that 1 week after the availability of a patch, there is now a exploit going on in the wild. It's tracked to CVE 2021-26084 and can, in some cases, be exploited without authentication. The patches are included in versions 6.13.23, 7.4.11, 7.11.6, 7.2.12, and 0.5, and 7.13.0. On August 29th, researchers said it was easier than expected to reproduce the exploit. On September 1st, companies started seeing internet scans aimed at identifying vulnerable systems as well as exploitation accounts. The stuff that's taken place is in Brazil, China, Hong Kong. I see Romania, Russia, and the US, targeting Confluence servers that are vulnerable to remote code execution. Government and cybersecurity agencies have all started issuing alert for the CVE. Make sure you get your Confluence patch before the long weekend, folks, before the weekend. Morning to Matt Lee. Good morning to David. Good morning to Chris, the Espresso King. I shall not take the Espresso King title, for I am neither a king, but I do love espresso. And Larry to Leshana Tova. Happy New Year, buddy. The Jewish New Year is upon us, after which we start a week. And I'll explain that more on Wednesday. I'll have a really tune in on Wednesday. You're not gonna want to miss it. All right, we'll move to our next story. Gutenberg template library and Redux frameworks bugs plague WordPress sites. So here's the thing: there's two vulnerabilities within the site building plugin that could be useful tools in the hands of a skilled attacker. So if you are using WordPress, you want to make sure that if you are using the Gutenberg template library and that Redux framework plugin for WordPress, which has about 1 million installs, you want to get it patched and ready to go. I won't waste any more time on this. There are patches available. Just get them done. Obviously, WordPress plugin problems always exist. You want to make sure that you're getting plugins into your WordPress sites that are constantly maintained and have security updates. If they don't, you're bound to find yourself in a world of hurt. Finally, two more stories left for us here this morning, folks. The first one, Ireland fines WhatsApp 225 million euros for breaching EU privacy law. This investigation has been going on for nearly 3 years, folks, from around December of 2018 to examine whether the messaging app discharged its GDPR transparency obligation with regard to telling users how their data was being used. That means how the data was being shared between Facebook and other companies in order to, market to you. The DPC submitted its initial decision to other European regulators, whose approval is required based on GDPR, but received objections from 8 of them, unable to reach a consensus. A dispute resolution process was launched in June of this year, of which a binding decision last month was brought forth, and that fine was for 225 million euros, which just about is the equivalent of $267 million to WhatsApp. So essentially a very fancy tax bill. And finally, the SEC this week announced sanctions against several companies over cybersecurity failures that resulted in email accounts getting hacked and the exposure of customer information. The 8 entities belonging to 3 companies have been sanctioned by the SEC, including Cetera, Advisor Networks, Investment Services and Financial Specialists, Advisors and Investment Advisors, Cambridge Investment Research, and that's the Investment Research and Investment Research Advisors, and KMS Financial Services. According to the SEC, Cetera exposed the PII of at least 4,388 customers and clients between November of 17 to June of 2020. In this timeframe, unauthorized third parties managed to hack into more than 60 cloud-based email accounts belonging to Cetera staff. The SEC was also unhappy with the fact that the breach notifications sent out by some of the companies were misleading in regard to when the breach was disclosed. As for Cambridge Investment Research, the firms had more than 121 email accounts hijacked, resulting in the exposure of information belonging to 2,000 customers. Finally, KMS had 50 financial advisors or their assistants who had their email accounts hacked between September of 18 and December of 19, resulting in the exposure of information belonging to nearly 5,000 clients and customers, all of which, all 3 companies received a fine. Cetera, $300,000, Cambridge, $250,000, and KMS, a $200,000 penalty. This is a great slide for the board and for executive leadership. When we talk about security, when we talk about email security, especially if you're an investment firm, even more if you're a business supporting these types of organizations, just understand that this is for these companies, this could be a big fine or it could be a small fine. I didn't check their market cap, but it's definitely significant. If you take a look at the last 2 stories today, if we look at WhatsApp and we look at this SEC, we're starting to see more crackdown on fines. And that's something that we want to introduce into the board and into our slide decks of, hey, board, here are some of the things that have gone on legally from a regulation perspective that could have an impact on our company and on our bottom line if we don't take these things seriously. It's a great little tool to have. It's a great little antidote to get your board and at least other people to research it and look at it and identify, maybe we should invest a little bit more in security if that's your challenge, or give security a little bit more autonomy if that's a different challenge you've got. Folks, that's it for our practitioner brief today. We'll be back tomorrow. I am not live. We won't be doing the 11 a.m. live tomorrow for Labor Day. We will also be off Monday and Tuesday. Monday for Labor Day, Tuesday for Rosh Hashanah. I'll be back Wednesday with the practitioner brief. So a few days where you won't be hearing from me here. I'll still be doing some stuff on Clubhouse. Tonight I'll be on Clubhouse. This morning we were on Clubhouse with the other side of cyber talking about parenting online. So tune into that. Everyone have a blessed, joyful Labor Day weekend. Remember, do the basics so that you can actually enjoy this weekend. Take a last dip in the pool. Go spend time with your family. Take some time away. Disconnect. It's so important. Someone said, I work. I think that was Matt Lee. And got to take some time away, folks. Got to take some time away. Step away. Take a breather. Turn off your phones. Just turn off your laptops. spend time with your family, read a book, go out, see nature, enjoy the awesome country we have here, or wherever you may be in the world. All right. And have an awesome Labor Day weekend. To all my friends in Israel and all our Jewish listeners all over the world, Rosh Hashanah, Shana Tova, and Rosh Hashanah Sameach to everyone. And we'll see you all on Wednesday next week. Until then, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and see you on Wednesday. Cheers, folks.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.